Boozed and Bothered on occasion may contain content that readers and listeners find offensive or distasteful. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast or on the articles on the website are solely those of the individual authors, speakers, and or guests, and do not necessarily reflect the views of Boozed and Bothered as a whole or the views of any of Boozed and Bothered's affiliate or parent companies and organizations. Enjoy the show.
Scares me.
Oh. You're not are you into horror movies or no?
I like psychological thrillers.
So like Silence of the
I know how to
Lambs
talk.
and
Yeah,
and
like
Hannibal and Red Dragon and
Well, I mean, now you're just sticking to one series, right?
I mean, yeah, because it's fucking good.
But it also makes me really nervous. You know, I like it. I'll watch it. But when there's like excessive gore,
What is excessive gore? Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's actually the one that I was going to talk about.
Okay.
I saw the original. I saw the one with Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger.
The new one?
No, it's not new. This was
the original.
This is from like 1983.
Yeah. Wasn't there a new one? There was a new one though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't pay attention to horror. I just like the movies come out, all the Halloween movies just fly right by my head. I'm not into it.
Well, that one scares me because I just like intentional gore makes me nervous.
Okay.
I don't like it.
What about stuff like that's like eerie scary, like The Ring or The Grudge?
I loved The Ring. I thought The Ring was great. I thought The Grudge was great, but there's something about Sarah Michelle Gellar that I can't. I really didn't like. I don't know how to describe it. I see her and I just don't believe that she's afraid.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Yeah. Like I like her generally. She's a great actress.
Sure.
You know, who doesn't like Buffy?
Sure.
But I can never believe that she's afraid. It just doesn't work for me.
So she's better as a vampire killer.
Yeah. Oh, I really liked Buffy the Vampire Killer, the movie. That scared me. My dad is probably going to listen to this podcast and he'll be like, I remember when you were like 5 years old and afraid of that movie.
I don't think anything.
Really embarrassing to admit.
I mean, does it scare you more than Sasquatch?
Okay, now we're getting too personal, Sean.
Okay.
Don't bring. Listen, you are bringing.
I'm
going
to pull it back. I'm going to pull it back.
Yeah. You're kind of the boss here, but you're also you need to have sensitivity.
Was
Sean.
that an HR issue? Was that okay?
Yeah, that was a childhood trauma.
Okay, got it.
Not because I saw him, but because I was told he was there, and I'm a gullible person, I think, when it comes to being afraid.
Wait, I have to ask though. How old were you when that happened?
I don't know. I had to be like 5 or 6 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just stayed.
It stuck around. It's the one thing.
That's wild.
I know. I'm probably going to get made fun of a lot more than I normally do for this, but I mean, it's just, we all have our fears. Some of them are embarrassing. That's mine. I'm not embarrassed by it anymore. I admit it. I'm there. I'm in that zone.
You have an unreasonable fear of Bigfoot.
I just keep my eyes out when I'm in the woods. You know, I feel like with fear, it's better for you to just assume that something terrible is there.
Sure.
And still try to live your life. I think that that's the key to bravery, Sean. I think that not being afraid to go to the woods, despite the fact that you might be torn apart by a giant ape man monster thing. That's called living, and you have to move on.
I think I can commend your bravery there.
Yeah, thanks, man.
No, I'll drink to
Cheers.
that. Cheers.
What are you drinking?
Oh,
see? Wait, what do we do? I don't drink Coke. I don't drink Coca-Cola, so we can't do a Jinxie.
No. Jinx, you owe me a beer.
I gave you that beer.
You did. Well, you owe me another one.
Oh, it's in the fridge.
Okay, great. So I'm drinking. I love this beer so much. I'm drinking Lagunitas Lil Something Something.
That's a good one.
It is good. Love. Oh man, you know we got to go back there
To the brewery?
Yeah,
definitely. Petaluma. It's only like what, an hour and a half drive?
I think so. On a good day,
5 hours if Highway 80 is under construction at any point.
So always 5 hours, or
Well,
I mean, it's going through a lot of crap right now.
Who knows? You know, I think they're trying to make it better, but I mean, it is a mess.
Nobody wants to go west on 80 right now.
Never.
Are they still working on the bridge over West Sac?
Oh, I have no idea.
I
haven't been to West Sac. The only time I ever go to West Sacramento is if I need to go to IKEA, or if there's a reason for me to be at Walmart at like 3 a.m.
I love IKEA.
I do too.
It's a problem.
It makes me nervous though, because I'll go in there and I can spend $3 or I can spend $250. It's like Target but Swedish.
Yeah, I think the last time I was there, I was when I first moved in here. I spent like $2,500.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you do have a nice couch.
I like my couch. Yeah.
And your coffee table was a great find too. I was there for that.
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
I didn't know you spent that much.
The as-is section.
Because I think I picked up like a replacement set of chopsticks or something like that, and I was like, "This is all I need." And then I turn around and you're pushing like a cart and backing up like a U-Haul or something like that. I remember this.
Right.
This is how it happened. And I was like, "That's fine. We have the U-Haul because you just moved in today."
Oh yeah, that's true. What are you drinking?
I am drinking Stone's Go-To IPA. It is described as a vibrant, hop-bursted session IPA. I'm not sure what a session IPA is.
You know, I hear that term all the time. We've got computers in front of us, and
well, I'm not looking it up. I'm just going with the fact.
Either.
No. But it is in a taller can, and that makes me feel very confident because it's a little bit bigger than a standard can and less abrasive than. What is that, a 22-ounce can? Is that a venti? I don't know. The tall can that Coors Lights come in.
Oh, yeah, tall boys. The tall boys.
Oh, is that the street term?
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't know that?
I always called them tall cans. But I've been wrong before, and I also subscribe to clickbait, so.
Do you have Board Panda on your newsfeed?
Yes. Oh, my God. If there's something that I can do, that's like my favorite thing.
Okay.
I will go through 10 pages of useless information. Do I have to? I don't think I do.
Oh my God. I'm so
You know what, Sean?
just so disappointed right now. I just thought you were better than that.
I'm not, but I'm sure if you sent it to me that I would click on it because I mean, especially if there's like bright colors. I can't hide that fact about myself. It's just the way things go for me.
Sure. Okay.
You know, I just realized that they don't know who we are.
Oh. I was about to mention that, but go ahead.
Well, we do have names. My name is Jonathan. I am your host for this thing that we call Boozed and Bothered. We're going to be drinking beer. We're going to be talking about news, current events, social issues, all those taboo things that people aren't supposed to talk about with their friends or in polite company. And we're mostly polite company, but, you know, we don't mind mixing it up sometimes.
Are we bad friends? Because we talk about that stuff all the time with our friends.
No, I think we're good friends because we talk about this kind of stuff all the time.
And to just force it on them.
Yeah, it's like a hug that you didn't know you needed.
Oh, it's like a bear hug for some of our friends.
Yeah. We do have huggy friends, though. I'm okay with it.
I'm pretty sure I'm one of them, at least when I'm intoxicated.
Yeah, you do the one arm like wrap around side hug thing.
Yeah,
when you're a little drunky poo.
Yeah, well, the drunker I get, the more the other arm comes into it, and then it's
the louder you laugh. Which, if anybody here knows Sean, you can't miss him. If you're within a couple blocks and he's on a bar patio somewhere and he's giggling, God, damn you Hey, don't pretend this isn't true. And
who was it all those years ago who came down and said, "I knew you were down here because I heard you laughing"?
Probably everybody that we know, and everybody that you know, because that's a lot more people than everybody that I know.
Oh God!
And everybody who knows you has to be aware that you laugh loudly, it's infectious. I think it's adorable.
Great, I appreciate that.
Well, obviously you have to appreciate it,
right?
It's called friendship.
I appreciate your friendship. With that being said, my name is Sean, and I am the co-host / producer of this podcast and publication known as Boozed and Bothered.
We're also doing all of this on all of his stuff. So we're going to call him Daddy. This is what we do here. It's called respect. And we have a lot of it.
Is that because I just have a lot of stuff, or
Listen, you're very tech friendly.
I am? You, on the other hand,
No, I'm not. I don't like technology. It makes me nervous. But also very excited.
we had a great moment today. I was teaching Johnny how to use a rich text editor over Facebook Messenger.
He's looking at me now, and I'm looking lost, like I've never heard those words before.
Medium.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I logged into it successfully within like half a minute, which is it's a record time, guys. It is a record time.
Yeah. We got you all set up. We got your email set up. We got everything rolling.
Yeah, no, I logged in just fine. I got to all the information that I needed for editing and writing, which I will try to be doing as often as possible.
Yeah.
Along with speaking.
Yeah.
I plan on doing a little bit of backstory writing. Wow, I really should stop the ums.
It's gonna take practice.
That is gonna take practice. I wish there was like also the likes. These are bad words, Sean. These are horrible words. We go into this trying to be as professional as possible, and here we are messing up all over. Well, I'm messing up. I'm the mess up here. I'm supposed to be the host, and I'm umming.
You're all right.
Tisk.
It's fine. It happens.
I need like a nun somewhere to like smack my knuckles or something like that.
The ruler?
Yeah.
Or just a giant crucifix?
Well, I'm not afraid of a crucifix, Sean.
No. It's got more weight.
Well, I don't want to be hit by one either, just because I'm not. Just because the sign of the cross isn't,
Right. Sure,
upsetting to me because it's great.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that I want to be hit with one.
That's fair. Those are all fair things.
I should probably look online for like a sleep aid or something that, not like a pill. I don't do that. But
CBD?
I don't really do that either.
Oh, you're missing out.
You're not the first person to tell me that. I've always been more of a drinky person. I'm a drinky.
Okay. But like just like one or I mean.
Well, you have gummies. You're a fun person. So you have all the tech and you have all the goodies.
All the tech and goodies.
Yeah. I'm like, I have beer somewhere.
I like to play in the future.
Is that the future? Tech and gummies?
Oh God, I fucking hope so.
I think that's the way things are going, and I'm just going to have to catch up. But I'm making good efforts here. I know how to log into things. I opened everything that I needed for this session within, I think, like a minute and a half. I think I was.
You were into the Google Doc before I was.
Yes,
that's impressive.
And I should let everybody know that I'm getting a new computer. I broke mine by misusing it. And I'm using Sean's spare laptop, which is connected to all of his other things.
Oh, God.
And if anybody here is tech-friendly and uses MacBooks,
And iPhones.
Oh, yeah, I forget that this is all like a package thing. I don't know how to do any of this, but I keep getting Sean's messages. So I'm sitting here, typing away, this is what I want to say and sound like I know what I'm doing. And all of a sudden, I'm getting all these messages throughout the day, and I just don't know what to do with them. So I just
don't look at them.
I try not. I ignore them. I feel like I'm a peeping Tom over here.
Yeah, I know.
I'm all, who is that?
Don't worry about it.
I'm trying not to because it takes me exactly like a minute. Not a minute. I'm quicker than that. I hope. It takes me about a second to be like, oh, that's not for me. But it's like walking down the street and like people are doing things in their houses.
With the blinds open.
With the blinds open.
Windows open. Yeah, blinds open.
You look in, but then as soon as you do, you're like, oh no, that's not for me.
Right. But it's like one person talking to someone else in the other room because you can't hear what I'm saying.
That's true. This looks like one-way conversations all day. I don't know what the conversation is because
it's conversations coming to me.
Yeah.
To me. So it looks like I'm just leaving someone on red.
Well, wow, I didn't even think that I should be thinking of you as being rude and like doing that.
I definitely was not leaving that person on red.
Well, I'm glad I didn't know what the conversation was.
It was just about dogs.
You do have one.
I do. He's great.
We have wandered.
We have.
We are walking a path in nature right here, guys.
It was like in Auburn, like how we planned on going on a 3-mile hike and we did 8.
Yeah, but that was Puppy's first day, so I mean, we had to go big, and he took it really well. He did a really great job.
Great job. Slept for 5 hours. It was awesome.
Did he really?
He did. Afterward,
I came home and my cat was like, "You smell like a dog," and she didn't come anywhere near me for 5 hours.
So we both got breaks from our pets.
Yeah, that really worked out the same way.
Yeah.
Mine was mad and she took a nap somewhere else. Yours was tuckered out.
Yeah, and he took a nap. All right. So we've got we got a few headlines today. We've got 3 that we're looking at here.
We all know I love headlines.
Johnny loves headlines. He's we've got a pretty sizable Facebook group that he is consistently posting all the headlines to all day. And then he posts me some extra ones.
Those are the saucy ones.
Those are the extra saucy ones. We're not entirely sure that the rest of the group can handle those.
Yeah, those are a little too extreme.
So,
a little too libertarian, which isn't something you're supposed to say to libertarians.
Yeah,
because
there's no such thing.
No, they will take it to the extreme, and they will challenge. It's a chicken fight.
It is.
It's a chicken fight. How libertarian are you?
Yeah.
And the moment you say you're not, offended by, I don't know, stoplights. You're basically a communist, and everybody's screaming at you, even though they stop for stoplights.
They do.
I would love to see libertarians who are like, the roads and the stoplights, these are all like massive evils, and there are levels, and I feel like I try to be more reasonable sometimes, but I do have my extreme moments.
I'm really looking forward to one of those. On here,
probably not today. We'll get there.
Okay, yeah. So we've got headline. We've got 3 headlines today. We're working with Rare, the Jack News, and the Daily Wire. So from Rare today. So the rare headline today is Republicans will include repealing the individual mandate in the tax reform bill. This is specifically about Rand Paul's.
That could be a new sport, though.
I ran the ball.
Oh, is that like slang?
I don't.
That's okay, because there was a point in time during another conversation where I said the Rand's Paul, and it was like I was trying to say there were multiple Randall Pauls in the Senate, and that's not.
Is it Randall? I'm pretty sure it's just Rand, like Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand?
No, I think it's Randall Paul.
Is it Randall?
Yeah, and I think he just chooses to go by Paul or
Rand
Paul. See, nobody knows who this person is. He may not even be real.
It's a true thing.
That's not true. He was twice elected to the Senate. Twice.
And assaulted on a lawnmower.
Isn't that crazy?
I think that's a little wild.
Allegedly, the guy was a socialist who was upset about pumpkins. That's not his official defense.
Right.
If anybody could call that a defense. But there's like conflicting reports here, right?
Right.
And despite those reports, and exactly what the case was that started this one-sided fight, some would call it assault. But
do you agree with that?
I mean, it certainly looks like it, but I'm not the judge and jury here. All I know is that there was a good block of time there where they were saying that he was a socialist mad about pumpkins and trees and landscaping, that Rand Paul was allegedly violating the
HOAs.
Oh, yes, the HOAs.
HOAs.
They're all over my hometown.
And nobody want one of those.
Yeah.
No.
Regardless of the reasons, Rand Paul came back to the Senate this week after about 10 days off, I think it was, for recovery from 6 broken ribs, 6 cracked ribs.
5 or 6, yeah.
And difficulty breathing, fluid in the lungs. He was...
Was his lung punctured?
I don't think it was that bad.
Okay.
But I know that it was said that he was having difficulty breathing. So, about a week and a half off, He's back to work.
Sure.
I love having Rand Paul back in the Senate.
Well, yeah, especially when he's bringing the fire back on day one of his return.
And he sure has.
The
The Senate here also kind of, Republicans in the Senate, I shouldn't say the whole Senate, it is a House divided. We all know how bad that can be.
No.
But Republicans in the Senate gave him a little bit of a welcome back present by putting in a repeal for the individual mandate on Obamacare, also known as the Affordable Care Act. I read recently that there are some people who don't know that that is the same thing.
Who? What?
I mean, I was just as shocked.
Well, what's the demographic though? What's is it? Is it Southerners? Is it? That sounds inflammatory. I'm not trying to imply that Southerners are dumb. And I'm sure Southerners.
There are great universities down there, but the age bracket here was not the age bracket per se, but the poll was from college students that didn't know that.
I hope none of those are poli-sci majors.
It's not even the majority. We'll say that. I will give you.
Okay,
I will go there. It's not a majority of college students, but the fact that there are college students who do not know that those are one and the same is a little concerning.
Yeah. I hope none of those are poli-sci majors.
I would hope not. That would be. I don't think that they would be majoring in poli-sci for very long. Because it's the big topic legislation, right? It's what everybody talks about.
Sure.
It's a doozy.
So, right.
But repealing the individual mandate, what they did is they tagged it on, and it's his idea.
Yeah.
Something he's been campaigning on for.
And he tweeted this yesterday at 8:24 a.m. I think it's about 5:30 our time. But it said, today I'm announcing, and this is Rand Paul on Twitter, and it says, today I am announcing my intention to amend the Senate tax bill to repeal the individual mandate and provide bigger tax cuts for middle-income taxpayers. He continues on to say the mandate repeal is a promise we all made and we should keep. It also allows an additional $300 billion in tax cuts, which is a hell of a claim, might I add there.
Yeah, that's a really big number, and I'm not sure what the math on that is, and I'm not sure where he gets the claim from that. But I mean, even Democrats admit that without the individual mandate,
the
Affordable Care Act can't be supported.
Sure.
You have to. It basically forces people to play the game or pay up if they don't, and I think that this is fine. I don't know anybody who thinks that the Affordable Care Act has been necessarily a success. I don't think it's done what it was intended to do. And there are going to be Democrats who say that that's because they lost the Senate and the House, and there was no legislative action behind it that could have fixed the problems with Affordable Care Act. I think that's the main argument, is that Republicans stopped all the cures for the Affordable Care Act. Yeah. That Obamacare failed because Republicans insisted that it was going to fail under their watch in Congress. And the real question is if it needed to be fixed that badly that Republicans couldn't gain power in the legislation. Well, I don't actually know. I don't know what that argument adds up to. And the fact that people have voted for the representatives to take Congress for the Republicans.
Sure.
I see no problem with dismantling this.
I really wish we had a Democrat in the room.
Yeah, because it'd be nice to have some perspective on this.
Yeah, I really want to hear the other side.
Well, the accusation for Democrats running for Congress, right, is that at least from the Republicans' perspective, I've heard this a few times, that the Affordable Care Act is built to fail so that it can be replaced with single payer.
Right.
That we can go into a full national health care service, which is a real bomb throwing mechanism. That's not a very nice thing to say, and two, it's an incredibly inflammatory thing to accuse Democrats of creating a piece of legislation that would disrupt markets in the health field so drastically that it would have to be replaced by a centralized, basically civilian version of the VA.
Right. So, like, yeah, single payer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that I think that's an extraordinary kind of position to take if that's the case. I don't think that was the intention of Obamacare. I think Obamacare is set out to do kind of the right thing, but it's been really expensive. And it kind of, I think my problem with it is that you have to play. I don't like the force.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that. It's because regardless of what its intentions were, what it came out to be was just basically it was basically an inflammation of the healthcare market, and it basically
which is the most regulated market
not
there is in the United.
Right. Not inflation of the healthcare market. Inflated prices, right? Because
they shot up right away.
Right. Well, I mean, what you're doing is you're mandating people to buy healthcare from private companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're putting this kind of chokehold on the consumer, and you're giving the power to these companies, and you're forcing them. So what does that do? That inflates costs because it inflates demand artificially.
Well, and it forces a lot of these businesses to go under. I mean, you've got health insurance companies that are leaving markets altogether because they can't sustain them.
Absolutely.
Or they can't sustain the business within those markets. And
they've got too many. You
have entire swaths of this country that are covered by one option.
Yeah.
And in many instances, several to many. I know that's kind of an extreme jump there, but in a number of these instances, there are entire swaths that are covered only by the government option.
Right.
You know, here in California, we have Covered California.
Right. Absolutely.
Which I don't know if anybody's tried to sign up for Covered California, but it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have. Jeez. You know
if you can afford insurance in the state of California, if you can afford health insurance in the state of California,
which is quite a lot,
you can't afford to do anything else.
Yeah.
So you can certainly afford insurance that would probably allow you to live at the hospital, I would imagine, but you couldn't have a house.
It's open enrollment right now. It is open enrollment, and I'm on the hunt for it. And I'm not really looking forward to it personally. I know the rates that I was quoted last year were relatively obnoxious for at the time, an under 30 single male.
Welcome to the new decade.
Yeah, now I'm in the dirty, so I don't know what kind of prices the dirty 30 is going to bring me as far as that goes, but Stride Health has been reminding me all the time that it's time to buy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice of them to reach out, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's I think it's that or pay the fine,
which is getting steeper every year.
Every single year.
And it's a fine for non-participation.
Right. Right.
Autumn Price is. I do want to mention this. Autumn Price. She is the writer of this article for Rare, and Rare is kind of a conglomerate. It operates. It I don't know how to describe it. It feels like it operates more as a co-op media outlet.
So they're under Cox, right? Cox Media Group?
Which is based out of Atlanta.
Right, right.
And they're they're really interesting because they're constantly accused of being, far right or super libertarian, which, I mean, every writer and every editor is going to have their own political bent, which is why we pull from so many different sources, and don't think that we're only ever going to be talking about articles from libertarian leaning or Republican or conservative leaning sources. These are just the ones that kind of caught our attention, kind of wrapped up the week. I guess you would call it just succinctly, Rand Paul's back in the Senate. That's the rare article. Rare pumps out articles left and right.
Well, so. It's kind of a conglomerate of or co-op, I guess you could say, of a lot of different, like you said, like a lot of different people. I mean, you got Julie Borowski's featured on there, and then you have Autumn Price writing this article, and just like a number of different people kind of involved in this operation. I mean, America's Newsfeed, right?
Which is what they claim to be. And we see a lot of that, though. We see that kind of format. I guess it might just be like the internet format yet. And I think Matt Drudge probably did it first. But since Matt Drudge, the Huffington Post operates in a similar fashion, it's less. I think the Huffington Post, though, is less of a conglomerate, more of a centralized organization. But they do operate kind of as like a news feed, sort of along the Drudge Report lines. Not to make, it's not a bad comparison. I think Drudge is incredibly successful, and I think that kind of tagging along those lines it's clearly working out. BuzzFeed is just like this. In fact, Rare has been passingly compared to BuzzFeed as the conservatives' BuzzFeed, which I think is hilarious because they are not pro neocon over at Rare. They do not like that. That is one thing that if you are a hard right,
well, it dropped like a hot potato.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. The going back to Rand Paul
you
here.
You should drink more beer. You sound thirsty.
I am parched. All this talking. Going back to Rand Paul here. Ooh, getting a little warm.
Don't let your beer get warm. It's basically a sin.
Yeah. So Paul said from the article, Paul said repealing the mandate would prevent taxpayers from seeing a tax increase due to a loss of state and local deductions.
Which is, this is tying into the full Republican tax bill. So it all... Is that your dog chewing on something?
He is chewing. He's grinding his teeth.
Oh, he's teething. Everybody has to forgive that. His dog is teething,
so
he's chewing on a thing right now, a dog toy or something. And he's super adorable, but he has to stay around all the time because he's just that cute
and antsy.
But he's growing up.
Yeah.
These are important steps.
Yeah. So
sorry, super sidetrack. You put a puppy or a small animal in front of me. I'm like, oh my god, look at that thing. But with this repeal is tagged on to as an amendment to the tax bill that's sitting with Republicans in the Senate. And it seems to have a lot of support from Republicans in the House, which is important because Republicans in the House have been the ones that are on top of the Obamacare repeal. They're all for it, and anything that can move that line, they are going to do.
Absolutely.
And, of course, you need to have confirmation between both chambers in Congress before a bill goes to Trump. So I think Rand Paul is actually making a maneuver to make the tax bill a little bit more chewable, I guess you would say, to Republicans in the House. I guess that might be like the political inference, is that he's trying to get them to like tag on to this, that he thinks possibly, one, that this is a good idea, and two, that this is a good political strategy for him. And I don't mind it.
No. I'm
not even sure that I mind the tax plan. For all of the ranting and raving that Democrats have done about this tax plan, I'm not sure that I understand what their problem is. And the overall tax plan isn't really talked about too much in this article. This article is Autumn focuses pretty exclusively on Rand Paul's return to the Senate and this amendment. But it does, that question still lingers, and we can go into that another time. I'm sure that's a big one.
Oh yeah,
that's actually something that I would like a Democrat here for.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. We need to find one.
We know them. We have them. We have Democrat friends.
We do. Yeah, no, and Paul Paul goes on to tweet again, and he says, this is actually shortly after the original, and he says, my amendment will, pardon me, my amendment will fix a problem in the Senate bill where many taxpayers would see a tax increase because of the loss in state and local deductions. I will introduce a similar deduction as the House plan, making the tax reform plan more fair for everyone. He goes on to say this will ensure House acceptance of the Senate plan, as leaders there have stated they will not accept a plan with no state and local deductibility. Repeal the mandate fix problems with Senate bill through more tax cuts for all, and help ensure House and Senate plans agree.
It's like a pre-step to reconciliation.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Paul is trying to direct this entire tax bill, which I'm not going to lie, is actually sounding like it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which nobody likes big bills. Okay, we should really try our best to I think plans to keep bills to like one topic are important, but this bill seems to be growing and growing and growing. So that's one argument against it, is that this is encompassing a lot of things.
Yeah. Nobody likes big bills.
But the Supreme Court of the United States said that the individual mandate counted as a tax and that Congress had that power. So here we are, almost a decade after all of this whole shenanigan existed and started to exist, I should say.
Right.
But it sounds like Paul's just kind of greasing the wheels for this to fly through Congress. I think he knows what the House wants. I think that he has a lot of allies in the House. There's a much larger liberty focus with House Republicans than there is with kind of the old guard in the Senate.
In the Senate. Yeah, you got,
So I think that if Republicans in the Senate can send this onto the House, I think that sounds like he's already set up.
So we got some, in this particular situation, I believe we have some stalwarts here, We've got,
oh, yes, the
John
old
McCain.
guards have opinions.
Yeah. So John McCain is actually with Paul on this one.
I have a real quick question.
Yeah.
Do you feel weird saying stalwart? I always feel like I'm saying the word wrong. Does that happen to you? Sometimes with words, I feel like I'm saying them wrong, and then I go and check back later. I'm like, no, that's just an awkward sounding word.
Stalwart. Wait. Oh, my computer's on mute.
Oh my God, I forgot that you can like look up words and have them like spoken to you. That's a Google feature, right?
Yeah.
I've done that with translation. I'm not gonna lie.
Stalwart.
Wow.
Stalwart.
Gotcha.
Stalwart.
Always believe the internet.
Yeah. At least when Google when Google's choice is your actual first result that they provide themselves.
Yes, thank you, Google.
I think that was from Merriam-Webster, which is clearly a trusted source for them.
I mean, I think if Merriam-Webster can be trusted in paperback form, I'm sure the internet version is just fine.
Right, sure. Okay. So yeah, we've got some stalwarts here.
Yes.
John McCain is actually backing Paul on this one, and then we have
which is a crazy alliance. I didn't even know that he hated the Affordable Care Act.
I don't.
I think he changes his mind like every few months. He's like, "This is bad for America," and then he goes home. Like that's when he's home, and then he goes on like some sort of speaking tour or something. And he's like, "We can't undermine the administration or whoever is." I feel like he doesn't have like a solid center.
Right. So with that being said, with how old Johnny Boy has been, does that even help to legitimize Rand Paul in his amendment?
Well, I don't know. I would wonder what Democrats feel about that. I think that Democrats have been John McCain fans for the past few months, and I think that they really do love him. Apparently now. They didn't in 2008.
Right. Praising the Maverick.
Yes, the Maverick.
The Maverick.
See, I'm getting more of your messages. I love this. This is great.
Oh my God, I have a message.
I know.
I have a text.
I'm not going to lie. This does feel a little creepy, but I'm here for it. They slide away too fast for me to read, but I'm just like, who is this person?
Thank God.
And it still takes me about half a second to realize that this isn't for me.
No. Right.
I'm
Okay.
like, what is this message? Oh, that's for Daddy. This is not my computer. You would think I'd know that by looking at it, and it's a different color and a different model and everything. I have a Sony Vaio that does not work because I broke it. I can't wait to get a new computer.
Yeah. We'll get you there. So and then he's got opposition here too, and you had mentioned the name
Susan Collins.
Susan Collins.
Yeah, she's like the nice Republican in the Senate. Nobody has anything bad to say about her. Never.
Right.
She's
level-headed.
She is now the senior senator from Maine. She
Yeah.
was the junior senator with Olympia Snowe there, but Olympia Snowe left the Senate a few years ago. And we miss her. She was a nice person, too. But Susan Collins is... I think people might just be happier and nicer in Maine because she's super non-confrontational. She has opinions. That's not to say that she's some shrinking violet. She has strong opinions and she sticks to her conventions. Conventions is not the word I was going for. No. You're right. She sticks to her convictions and it comes out sounding like she's super moderate all the time.
Sure.
But I think looking at her track record in the Senate, it's much more along the lines of caution.
Sure.
She's very cautious. She doesn't like making crazy things happen. Which I can appreciate. Who doesn't like a public official who, likes to walk instead of run?
I'm sure there's people, but I can't name them.
Yeah. And well, I guess we should just give her quote on this. She said, I personally don't think it complicates. That is a lie. I have lied about Susan Collins. That is not her quote. Her quote actually is, I personally think that it complicates tax reform, which they describe that as being hesitant, and I think that that's pretty accurate. Not they, Autumn. Autumn describes that as hesitation.
Correct.
I think it's important. I think that, I did mention this, it builds a bigger bill.
Sure.
We're no longer talking about straightforward things. We're still talking about taxes.
Right.
Because the Supreme Court says that a penalty is a tax. I think that's where we got in society, where we started rewriting words, is with the Supreme Court saying that a penalty is a tax.
Seems like a normal thing these days.
Democrats have run with it. But she's not wrong. This is building a bigger bill. It's complicating tax reform.
It is.
I mean, we're still talking about taxes because the individual mandate is technically a tax legally, not technically, legally.
Yeah.
So, I don't mind Susan Collins having that little quote in there. I think that she's not wrong. I also think that John McCain here is not wrong. Is it possible that they're both right?
I guess, yeah, but then I guess that comes down to the votes.
Well, I hope the whole thing becomes history.
One way or another?
I mean, it's already history, but I hope that, figuratively it goes away.
Right.
Well, literally it goes away, and figuratively it becomes history.
Right.
I cannot speak. Wow, that's...
So...
This is my first run at this, guys. Okay, don't...
Right.
I am not a professional.
So I want to move on here. I want to move on to... Because this just came to an end this week. Trump was on a tour. President Trump was on a tour through Asia. And so we have an article here.
Oh, yes, Visitor Trump.
Yes, we have an article here from the Daily Wire, written by Joseph Curl. So when you hear the Daily Wire and you think of Ben Shapiro, you don't have to think of him too much here.
There are so many college students crying.
Right now.
At the mere mention of his name.
Of Ben Shapiro.
Berkeley spent $600,000 on security so that he could safely deliver a speech. That's America.
That is America.
Is Berkeley America? I mean, technically it is. Morally, though.
It depends on who you talk to.
Well, we'll just let that pregnant pause speak for itself.
Sure. So the headline today is this is yesterday. President Trump triumphs in Asia. U.S. media fixates on handshakes and goldfish. And kind of jumping ahead in this article here, I want to point out that Joseph wrote, and the Asian leaders swooned.
I like that word.
It's a good word.
Did they though? They swooned. You know what? I feel like they did.
Well, okay. So in Japan, Trump played golf with Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who gave him a hat that said "Donald and Shinzo make alliance even greater."
Let's do it.
The Prime Minister even served Trump a cheeseburger for lunch, made with U.S. beef. No sushi for this president.
You know what? I did read that, and it was funny because American media, not like in an avalanche format, but on like side notes from the American media, they basically said that Trump didn't want sushi, which is a weird take on that.
That's a hot take. That's a hot take for sure. That's a hot take for sure.
I felt like I was brainless. But I feel like
hot takes can be brainless.
Fair enough. But I feel like a lot of the reporting, I feel like Sean, I need you to like stab me with something every time I say or like.
I haven't said it.
These are bad words. Fine. You don't have anything sharp around you, but find something.
Okay, sure.
Have your dog bite me.
Okay. He's teething.
Oh, that's a good point. It's useful on two ends.
Mm.
I feel like American media really kind of took advantage of just weird opportunities to make fun of Trump or to make him look stupid or to make it, and they always do. I feel like we've been living in a year of this, of American media just being all over, just enraged. I feel like they're constantly mad, even when there's nothing to be mad about. And by all appearances, this trip was good for everybody.
Allegiances and
I think
relations and
I mean, Trump had a great time in Japan, which, you know, I hate to say it, but that means America had a great time in Japan. They fed the koi. Is that the goldfish reference? Are koi goldfish?
Koi are carp, but goldfish are also relatives of carp, descendants of carp. So I think koi are like great uncles to goldfish.
Well, we're going to need somebody who has a biology background.
Not Bill Nye.
Well, he's not a scientist. He's a civil engineer. But he does.
Someone told me he was a chemist.
No, I think he has his undergraduate in civil engineering.
Sure.
But either way, you know, Bill Nye he's a fantastic entertainer, and he taught all of us as children about science things. I didn't pay attention because I'm terrible at science. Or maybe I did pay attention, and that's why I'm terrible at science, because he is not a biologist or a chemist. This did not mean to go into like a Bill Nye bashing session either.
Right. So we're going to move on.
That's a whoopsie. We were talking about Trump having a great time in Asia. Japan.
In Asia in general, right?
He really did have a great time in Asia.
Because, so CNN reports, and this is a quote from the Daily Wire, President Trump and his Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping, I want to be...
I need some kind of phonetic reference to this, because I've heard literally every news source pronounce his name wrong. Is it Xi Jinping? Is it
Xi Jinping?
Xi
Jinping?
And I don't want to make fun of him. He is the Chinese president, and he deserves, enough respect that... Not enough respect. That's rude. That is disrespectful, actually.
He deserves respect.
Yeah. He's representing his nation.
Sure. So President Trump and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping, I'm just going to roll with it, on Thursday announced more than
I have confidence.
$250 billion in deals between the two countries across industries like energy, technology, and aviation, CNN reported. I just kind of want to add,
which is $250 billion additional. We have massive trade with China. And I think it's important. I think it stabilizes the Pacific, even when people don't think it does. I think it's important that goods and services cross between our countries.
Yes, I agree. As they say, free trade is the pinnacle of peace, right?
Well, it requires a certain amount of trust. Geopolitically, like,
Yeah.
I mean, we expect. I'm not going to, argue that trade with China is or needs to be equal, but I think that they're getting. I think it's a great thing.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a developing thing.
Yeah.
The Chinese economy and their entire country has developed at an incredibly fast rate, and I think that they deserve respect for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I mean, it depends on who you talk to, I think, because, the market in China was developed off of some interesting tactics by the Chinese government.
Mass slaughter.
Correct. With the interesting choice of, leaving Hong Kong as is, and then the Bank of China banking in Hong Kong.
But they didn't have an option with Hong Kong. Hong Kong was maintained by the British until 1997.
Correct. But we're in 2017 now.
We are in 2017, and the Chinese economy really took off with opening negotiations and trade in the 70s, right?
Correct.
I mean, that is...
Right.
What, 40 years?
Yeah.
40 to 50 years of incredible growth. Good for them.
Yeah. I want to add this little tidbit here because
I do love tidbits. Do you remember those pamphlets that used to be at diners?
Yes, I do.
I hope this is just like that.
I want to add this little tidbit here, and I don't believe it's mentioned in this article, but I really enjoy it, and this inspired one of my new Reddit names.
I think I know what this is. I'm thrilled.
So, regardless of your opinion of Trump, the Chinese people have taken a very interesting liking to him and given him a few nicknames here, specifically Uncle Trump.
So cute.
and
so cute.
My personal favorite, the Grand Commander.
That, first of all, I hope that we see Trump give a press briefing. I mean, any time would be great, but I hope that in the future we see Trump giving a press briefing in some futuristic version of medieval armor. And I hope that Grand Commander is like
emblazoned
somewhere. I want it in gold.
Right.
I think this is great. This is the best thing that's ever happened to Chinese-American relations.
And that's definitely a Reddit name I stole or took. Grand Commander was taken.
Did you really?
I got the Grand Commander. I did.
You are out. You're doxing yourself.
I'm doxing myself. It's a throwaway. I don't care.
You have to keep it. You have to use it.
I have to use it.
Don't use it for shit posting, but definitely definitely use it when you have like a solid point to make in an argument.
I will. Especially in our anarchy.
Oh, those people are crazy. It's not even real anarchy. It's like communism. It's the red and black flag. It's the wrong one.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I buy it. Ooh, that is inflammatory. Are we gonna get some?
You know what?
For that?
First of all, there are no communists in the United States. We are the new world. We believe in new ideas. There are democratic socialists, and they don't believe in taking everything, only most of it. And it's to help other people, Sean. You have to think. You have to think of the children.
I'm taking notes here. We've got to get a democratic socialist on the show.
We really do. There has to be some somewhere. They're very outspoken, so I know they're around here. Do we? I think that's the one political ideology that we don't have in our friend circle.
Democratic.
I know that we know them.
Well, we've got a little bit of a socialist in our lovely Chomsky fan.
Oh yes, and we love her.
We do love her.
We do. Okay, we do. I don't think she's a democratic
socialist.
Democratic
socialist.
No, she's not.
Because just Chomsky's in a traditional anarchy.
We don't like to make accusations like that. We'll tell you what you are when you admit what you are.
Right, because Chomsky is a quote traditional anarchist. End quote.
What does that even mean?
Proud hoon, like the.
What's a traditional anarchist? Since anarchy has no tradition.
The kind of anarchists that kind of emerged from like the French Revolution and Proud Hoon.
Wow, a lot of people died in that.
And yes.
Heads were rolling.
I know.
I think there's a Veronica song about that. It's not about the French Revolution. It's about Heads Will Roll, I think is the name of the song.
Right.
It's a great song.
So going back to... Going
we
back
are
to
real scatterbrained. Listen, you're daddy, okay? You're the director here.
I know. Going back to the Daily Wire here,
I always go back to the Daily Wire.
I know you do.
I love Ben. He's so cute and feisty.
It really does seem like as far as relations go, person to person anyway, even that Trump's trip through Asia was relatively successful.
Yeah, I mean, the Chinese president and him made that. Xi Jinping made that deal. I
Really?
think
Yeah.
That's an addition. That's not just $250 billion. That's an additional $250 billion on top of what we already trade with China.
Absolutely. Shinzo Abe was clearly doing a little bit of butt kissing.
Was he? I think
With the hat.
I think that was cute. I don't think that we can say ass kissing. Okay, my father's not going to be mad about that.
Okay. Well, he was kissing some ass, with Donald and Shinzo make alliance even greater.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I think that
And a cheeseburger.
Well, who doesn't like? First of all, it was made with American beef. So, and who doesn't like American beef?
I mean, I'm probably getting a cheeseburger after we're done here.
Happy cows come from California.
Amen.
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 We like our cows.
We do.
We have great cows here in California, in case nobody knows that. But going back across the Pacific, we have... I really don't understand. Okay, so I think the goldfish thing is a joke. I think that ties into the way that Trump fed the koi, which was a followed action.
Yeah, Abe emptied his box of fish food first, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
That's just the media thing, though, is that, like, you can't trust... When they come up with this stuff, it's so petty. It's so petty. I mean, Trump says...
Who reported that originally?
Oh, that's a good question, because it was a pile-on. It was a real quick pile-on.
Yeah. I know CNN and MSNBC were in on that.
Yeah.
And the Daily Beast.
Well, the Daily Beast... Well, I'm not going to talk bad about the Daily Beast. I follow the Daily Beast closely. I love them. They piss me off all the time. I will cuss. But for every cuss word I say, they have great writers. They have a great staff.
I don't know if I agree with that, but that's fine.
Well, discourse. They do have a great staff over at the Daily Beast, and they have always maintained great. I just like their writers. I really love the Daily Beast. Even if I don't agree, I love reading everything that they post.
Sure.
I cuss a lot. I really do cuss a lot. There are a lot of things that make me like hands up in the air. Ugh, can't believe it. But
yeah,
that's what happens. And it's important to read, kids. It's important to read from sources that you're probably not going to agree with.
Correct. Okay.
But the Trump and the goldfish thing, I think that's a cute. If that is the joke, and I'm sure that it is, then that's, I guess, cute. Although it sounds like Trump is stomping around Asia, like passing out goldfish crackers and shaking hands, which is a weird thing. But I think it's also an adorable image.
It sounds like a playground, a schoolyard playground.
Well, I think he had fun, right?
Yeah.
It
seems like he had a blast. He had a blast all throughout Asia. South Korea.
He had a great time
Japan,
in South Korea.
The Philippines, China. They all seem to have received him very well.
He was also in Vietnam.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
for, I believe, an economic summit.
And they all seem to have received him very well. I think it's. So I'm very fascinated by that. I'm very fascinated by, the Western world has everything that they've said about Trump in this very short era that we've had so far. But
everybody's really mad.
But if you cross some borders here, you go further over into the Eastern Hemisphere, you have Asia now, who just seems to have this fixation about him.
Well, I think they see him. I could be wrong about this, but they probably see him as somebody who is nationalistic in their pride for their country. Trump's not over here storming troops through the streets on parade, kind of nationalistic. He's not over here.
He made that suggestion.
When?
Pretty sure at the beginning of his presidency, did he not? Or during his campaign. No, I was working.
Well, I mean, I know he loves military parades.
Yeah.
But who doesn't like a military parade? Oh my, if there are tanks going through the streets, I love big guns and toys. Well, that came out a little innuendo-y. Sorry. Okay, so Sean has hand gestures for me. And one, I'm not supposed to be looking at my screen the whole time. I'm supposed to be paying attention to him because he's a director daddy, right? And he just limp wristed me. And that's the sign for you're being a little flamboyant. And that's when I'm supposed to, like, you know, bring it back down to like a respectable notch where I can just be myself. And not so
unless
extreme.
flamboyant is yourself. I'm not, you know.
No, it. Listen, I could make jokes, but I'm trying not to be crude here, Sean.
Okay.
So we're talking about trade deals, and we're talking about foreign affairs.
Correct.
I don't think he traded gays.
Correct. So this is really interesting. So in the Philippines, it says Trump was part of an awkward handshake in Manila with foreign
Probably
leaders.
because gays are worth more than $250 billion. Boom. I said it. And now you're frozen.
What does that have to do with my sentence right now?
I just wanted to interrupt you with something vaguely inappropriate, but not entirely.
Trump was part of an awkward handshake in Manila with foreign leaders. The Washington Post and other outlets used a photo that made Trump look oafish, with the Post saying it was revenge, quotes, for the White House keeping photographers out of another event. In fact, Trump was merely trying to shake hands, cross-handed, with two much smaller men, and simply laughed about the situation. I mean, he is going to Asia, and he is 6'4".
He is 6'4". He's a very tall person.
He's a tall man.
Sometimes I forget that I'm not that tall. I feel like I'm average height. But if I was looking at somebody who's 6'4", I'm definitely looking up.
Correct.
This is just the pettiness. You know what I mean?
Is.
It's the media pettiness. And who... I don't even know if I have an opinion on this. I think it's stupid. I think it's stupid, and I think it's as oafish as he may look in that picture. I think it's more oafish of media outlets to kind of jump on that.
Correct.
To just
Sure.
not even to score, you know, an argument point or whatever, but just to be petty.
Well, it's not even, you know.
He is your president. I'm so sorry to report.
You know, this definitely goes back to what inspired this.
Right.
Right.
Well, this is how, I mean, a lot of this is a continuation of exactly how we got Trump.
Right. Well, you know, this is what inspired what we're doing here, right? I mean, this kind of just mudslinging, constant mudslinging going back and forth rather than civil discourse is really, you know, and it's perpetuated all the way throughout.
And I feel like, one, we have friends, all our entire friend group is from different political philosophies.
Oh my
just
God,
so
all
you know.
of them, all of
and
them.
hopefully we get all of them on here because they're all great people. And I know everybody says that about their friends, but our friends are great people.
Yeah. But there's like 10, and I've only got 4 mics.
We're just gonna have to cuddle.
Okay. I like
Cuddle
cuddling.
up.
I like cuddling.
Wow, that really had me stumped for a minute.
Not with you, but yeah.
I mean,
Don't be offended.
Fine. Wow, rejected by daddy. I'm gonna go. You want me to cry on this thing?
No, I don't want you to cry on
tears?
this thing. God.
We were supposed to be civil. Here you go, hurting feelings. Maybe I didn't want to cuddle with you.
Good.
Maybe you laugh too loud.
Good.
You don't.
Oh.
You laugh loud enough
Oh.
to find you. You're rude. No, but I mean, the thing is that we went through last year's election with people from very different political backgrounds and their viewpoints and all of those things.
It's always very fascinating, especially election season with our group.
And there was this.
I hate it, but
well, I love election season. It's my favorite. Everybody knows. I love it. I love feeling like
it's
I can
like
put
the
on another
Super
jersey.
Bowl for you.
It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, I know.
It's my favorite thing. And if I could get jerseys, I would buy jerseys. But I think that would actually be a great campaign fundraiser. I gimmick. I think is the
selling
word.
jerseys.
Yeah, I would get them.
Yeah.
I would get them.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be really embarrassing, though, if the person lost and then I had this jersey with a loser on it.
Well,
But,
I mean,
people buy jerseys for losing teams all the time.
yeah,
So
I'm a
maybe
Kings
not.
fan. It's fine.
Wow, disrespectful.
It's true.
The Kings are great. Just because they don't win doesn't mean they're not great.
Okay.
We love them. We
We
love
do.
this.
We do.
We are from Sacramento, and we are very proud of it.
We do love the Kings. I love the Kings. I mean, they lost by like 40-something tonight, but I love them.
Wow, that's a rough one.
Yeah.
But see, discourse. It's great. It's what we do. Listen, why am I the one pulling the reins on this? I don't even know how to pull the reins on this thing.
Okay, well, I think,
Our point of inspiration for this little project of ours, which we would love to not be a little project. We would love a big project. But, that's up to you guys. The big inspiration here is that we did not feel as angry or as upset throughout the election season last year, and it seems as though the media or the general media is constantly trying to make it seem as though it was a horrible thing and that people are miserable. And there's constantly news flashes of people. Earlier this week, people were screaming in Boston at the top of their lungs.
At the sky.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're in a liberal state. You're pretty safe if you're a
Yeah.
Democrat.
Yeah.
There's not. And there's this fear that's been built up around Trump. And to be honest, he hasn't really done anything.
No.
He's cut a lot of regulations, which
Right.
people are really afraid about for some reason, but they can't name those
He
regulations.
hasn't done too much as far as civil rights go either, I believe.
No, and people are super people swear he is. I don't want to use the word Hitler because I think that's incredibly disrespectful.
I just think that's so.
It's next level, and it's so unnecessary.
I don't use this word a lot, but it kind of does offend me. It offends me when people compare Trump to Hitler because you're literally, in my mind anyway, belittling what the Jewish people went through in Germany during the Holocaust.
Well, yeah, and you're also giving. I mean, that's certainly point number one.
No one's in a camp right now.
Point number two is that despite the fact that Republicans own almost every level of government, top to bottom, because Democrats lost over 1,000 seats under President Obama nationally, that the Republicans seem to be pretty ineffective at running this government.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I'm not sure is the fault of them being Republicans. I'm not sure if it's just a Republican issue or if it's more of an issue of them trying to put. God, the likes. I need to stop it. Or if it's more of an issue of them not knowing how to put the reins on a government that was run by a Democratic administration.
Right.
If it's just too out of control for them, which I don't know that it matters. I think it pretty much. It's pretty clear that Republicans don't have a solid grasp on government, that they cannot execute the functions of government properly, and I believe that means the government's too big, too wild.
It's been. I believe it's been that way for a while.
It's a beast.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't. Unfortunately, I don't think today we're going to get to our third article here, but it is included in our write-up on our blog.
You know what? I'm going to take responsibility for that, and I think it's about Laura Ebke. She's a state senator, and it was talking just about some of her accomplishments. And I think I'm just going to do an additional piece on that. I think I'm just going to write it.
Yeah.
Because for me, this was more of a personal thing. She switched to the LP in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
She's a state senator in Nebraska.
For those of you playing the home game, LP means Libertarian Party.
Oh, yes, that's the thing. I have to spell that out because not everybody knows because they're still considered a minor party, despite the fact that they have ballot access in the vast majority of states. But she switched parties from Republican to Libertarian in 2016, and she does a lot of great things. And I think I'm just gonna make that a written piece,
Absolutely.
and I'll publish that.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'll just notify. How do I do that? Is there like an official term for that?
Notify? Yeah, just put it in there.
And everybody who's subscribed gets notifications, right?
Yeah.
That's how that works?
Yeah.
I don't know how this works.
It's
I'm
fine.
learning.
It's fine. We'll post it. It's no worries.
Sorry if anybody believed that this was a professional operation. I am learning how to be that thing. This is an experiment in my ability to learn very quickly.
With that being said, I want to thank everyone for listening today to the Boozed and Bothered podcast. We will be doing this once a week. Every Tuesday we'll be recording and hopefully launching by, well, pretty much whenever I want, but ideally Thursdays every week.
It's his equipment, so Daddy launches when he's ready.
Daddy is going to try to commit to a set schedule also. My name is Sean, and I am your producer and co-host, and this is Johnny, your host.
Johnny or Jonathan, both are fine.
Both are fine.
I go by both. My father calls me Jonathan. My mother calls me Jonathan or John. Or no, my sister, my oldest younger sister calls me John.
Right. But other than that, we will
be call me whatever you want.
All right, everyone.
Professionals.
Thanks everyone for listening, and we will see
guys.
all of you next week.
Toodles.